Everyone, Johnny here again. This is week number 5 of your health and fitness videos. Hopefully you are still enjoying the videos, you're getting something out of it. It's a very tough time for everyone with the health and the fitness, with all that's going on. From people I speak to in the industry, so other trainers, coaches, myself included, motivation is at an all-time low, and it is very hard to get yourself going. Whether that's actually doing exercise or the motivation to stick to a diet when you've got no meals to go out for, no nights out, things like that. There's nothing that's really giving you that drive to stick to something, which makes it all the much harder. But it is going to end at some point, and if you put the work in now and set some good habits in motion, by the time this is all over, you'll really thank yourself, and hopefully you're in a really good position to attack the rest of this year. So let's get to this week's daily habits. So we've been adding an extra one of these on each week, but let's first of all have a look at what we've went through already and if we're going to try and increase them or keep them the same. First of all, that is the water habit, which we introduced in week 1. So we got up to 2 litres per day if you've been making them small increases each week. So for the water habit, I'm pretty happy if everyone watching this is consistently drinking 2 litres of water a day. That's a really solid foundational habit, and you can't go far wrong with that. For some people, you may need to be at like the highest level you can get. You probably should be having a little more. Some people, if you're particularly active or you're quite large person, especially if you lift a lot of weights, you're gonna need a bit more than that. But for the majority of people, I'm happy if you're hitting 2 litres per day consistently. So we're not going to touch that one. If you're not yet at the 2 litre point, then that's where you want to be building up to. Each week, try and do a little bit more, get closer to that number. Then in week 2, we looked at tracking the nutrition. So we've got water, and we've got the nutrition. Nutrition, if you are tracking, if you've been doing this consistently and you want to increase it, we're going to go up to 4 days per week. It can be any 4 days that you want, but I would suggest doing at least some weekdays, some weekends, just so you've got a bit more of a solid look at the whole week, if you like. If you're only looking at weekdays and weekends are completely different, then it's going to be a bit tough. So if you've been tracking consistently and just noting down what you've been eating and drinking, you should be really having a look at that at the end of the day, at the end of the week, and trying to evaluate where you're going wrong, what you're doing right, and make them little adjustments as you go. If you're doing that on an app, it could be to do with calories. You could be eating too many calories, so you can sort of see where's the easiest position where I can take some calories out where I don't really need them. That could be snacking on an evening. It could be just having too big of a evening meal, that kind of thing. If you're analysing what you're doing, then hopefully the week after that is going to be better than the previous one. Alright, so that's week number 2, going up to 4 days per week tracking. Week number 3, we went into exercise. So exercise, last week we looked at trying to get 5 minutes at least a day. If you're already going well over that, then I did suggest finding where you're at currently and just trying to choose a number that is suitable for you. Whether that's 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. We should be at the point now where you're trying to challenge yourself a little bit. So it went from 2 minutes to 5 minutes to 10 minutes if you were a beginner and you weren't currently exercising. So that's what we're going to go to this week, trying to get you at least 10 minutes of exercise per day. I'm going to add in a little PDF which we give to our Dauntless Fitness members. This is just a 10-minute blast program. It's 10 minutes of bodyweight exercises. We give it to our members, especially those that aren't currently exercising or feeling really unmotivated. Doing the 10-minute blast is an easy way to get some workout, some exercise in, without the sort of daunting feeling of doing a full 30-45 minute session. You can just quickly, right, I've just got 10 minutes and I'll get it done. And by the time you finish, you do feel a lot better. So I will add that in, and that's the week 3 progression that we've hopefully improved on. So the last week's habit that we introduced was stretching. So stretching, very important, especially if you are in pain. If that could be that you've got tight muscles from exercise, it could be from sitting down too much. We went for 2 minutes twice a day last week. Now we're going to try and up that to 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes twice a day. I would suggest doing first one on the morning. Second time you do that, it could be on an evening before bed. 5 minutes twice a day is what we're going to aim for. Stretching, again, vital part of your daily life. If you don't do it, your muscles will tighten up whether you exercise or not. It will happen over time, and it'll develop poor posture, could develop pain, and the longer that goes unchecked, the harder it is to undo all of them. Could be potentially years of putting your body in the wrong positions, and it could take that long to undo. So it's best to start sooner rather than later on that one. Okay, up to this week now. So we've looked at stretching, exercise, nutrition, water, all these foundational parts of any healthy lifestyle. The one thing that we haven't done yet that we're going to introduce this week is sleep. A lot of people don't sleep enough, and there is a lot of health consequences that can come in later life that can be related to lack of sleep. There's been a lot of studies shown on this now. There's a guy called Matthew Walker has a good book out called Why We Sleep. In it he shows a lot of correlations between lack of sleep and a lot of serious health conditions. There is that side of the coin. The other side of things is if you don't sleep enough, all these other things that we're trying to do, such as stick to a healthy diet, exercise, you're not going to be at peak performance by any means. Your work life's going to suffer if you're not sleeping enough. Your willpower really takes a hit if you are tired. Ask anyone that's been on night shift before. The last thing you want to do when you're knackered is eat a salad. Okay, so if you think about when you're at the most tired, you're craving all them salty, sweet foods, and if you're constantly tired, you're not going to want to eat healthy. It's just making things a lot harder for yourself. So this week we're gonna try and improve your sleep. This might not be a habit that everyone needs to add into the sort of weekly tracking that we're doing. If you're sleeping consistently 7.5 to 8.5 hours a night, then great. You don't really need to change that unless you want to try and get up earlier, which we can tweak that. So what we're going to do is, if you pick your ideal either time you want to wake up, time you want to go to bed, and we're just going to alter that by an hour, so make it an hour easier. So if you want to ideally go to bed at 10, week 1, you're just going to make sure that you're going to bed by 11 every night. That could be really easy for some people. If you remember, the process that we go through is making week 1 as easy as possible. So make it so it's really comfortable for you to hit that. Say, for that example, it's going to be 11 o'clock at night, and then you're going to hit that hopefully every day this week. Then next week we'll cut that by 15 minutes, and then we'll keep doing that each week until we hit that ideal number that you want to get to. So very important one, sleep, and we do really want to try and get everyone at least 7 hours ideally. I'm a bit of a hypocrite because 7 hours is probably what I get. Ideally that should be more than that, and I am working on getting to bed a little bit earlier myself, but I do feel the benefit when I do sleep more. If you're not sure whether you need to get any more sleep, because everyone is different on this, I'd say 7.5 to 8.5 hours is a good ballpark. But if you're feeling yourself lethargic throughout the day, if you feel like you're getting sleepy during the middle of the day and you're not very productive, then I would say that's as good a sign as any that you should be getting a bit more sleep. Or if you can't function without coffee, then you probably should be getting more sleep. So just analyze your own situation, whether you need to add any more sleep into your routine, and then we'll go from there. Next one is this week's tip of the week. So we're going to go nutrition this week. We touched on meditation last week, which still health related, but not nutrition fitness related. So this week it's going to be straight on nutrition tips. What I want to go through is taking a balanced approach to nutrition. There's a few things I want to cover within this topic, but the main thing is getting you eating something that is sustainable long term. So that's what I mean by a balanced approach. What that doesn't mean is going on a fad diet, something that you need to stick to. That's only going to be doable for a couple of weeks, and then you're going to have to change it completely. Because more often than not, whether the diet works or not, within a couple of weeks you're going to be back to square one. Now that doesn't mean to say if you've got a date for an event, a holiday, that you can't really tighten things up. That might not be sustainable long term, but that would only be tweaks to the diet. It's not something that you want to, like, for example, if you say I'm never going to eat any junk food ever again. While that may work, if you can actually stick to it, the likelihood is that you're not going to be able to do that. So what I mean by a balanced approach then is having a look at where your diet is now, making healthy substitutions that get you slightly closer to where you ideally want to be eating. So a good one which I personally use, or try to, I'm not 100% on this, and I don't think anyone is, but if you choose a few days of the week, maybe it could be one day, it could be 2 days, where you're going to eat the foods that you really enjoy. The rest of the week, try and be a little bit stricter. So that works for me. Doesn't work for everyone. What could be an option for yourself is trying to eat as perfectly as you can from morning until 7 p.m. And then if you can do that, then you can treat yourself with a chocolate bar, something that you really enjoy. It could be a glass of wine, whatnot. As long as you feel you can comfortably stick with the program that you're on longer term, like 6 months plus, then I would say it's sustainable. If after 2 weeks you can't wait for the thing to be over, then it isn't going to be sustainable, and you're likely going to go back after you finish the diet. Then you're going to go back to where you currently were, which I've done myself before, and I've seen it time and time again. So making something sustainable, it is a gradual process. So I wouldn't try and go from one end of the spectrum to the other straight away. Gradually, as all these habits work that we've been doing every week, it's just making it a little bit easier and getting yourself that bit closer to the end goal, and making it enjoyable for yourself, tweaking what doesn't work. So it's not going to be you write a plan down, then you go and follow the plan, and that's the end of it. It's likely going to be, right, 2 weeks in, this isn't really working, I need to change this, but just not falling off the bandwagon, just taking a step back and then go forward again from there. Alright, so that is the tip for this week. Having something that's sustainable, avoid fad diets, avoid anything that you know you're not going to stick to long term, and try and think of the long game. If you can stick to something sustainably, then you can get to your goals, and you can actually keep them when you're there. It's all well and good if you can lose weight, but if you then go and put it back on, it's often harder to lose the weight again the second time around. Alright, so that is this week's tip. Next up, we've got the challenge of the week. So, like the formula that we've been doing the steps challenge, because it is a good challenge. Everyone seems to enjoy it, and it's accessible for a lot more people, no matter what your fitness level is. So it doesn't need to be running, doesn't need to be walking. It can be anything as long as you're getting the steps in. If you've got a treadmill, you can do your steps on the treadmill if you really want to, but it's a bit better getting outside. Hasn't been the nicest weather this past week, but if you can get outside, hopefully it's going to be a little nicer next week. And even if you are stuck inside, you can still track them. You can still make them steps up. Get yourself up and down the stairs a few times. Just try and stay on your feet. It's going to do your body more good. Your waistline, if you are focusing on that, and the more active you are, the better for your overall health. So the steps challenge is a good one, and we're doing that again for this week. Same as I always end this, guys. If I can help you with anything, if there's anything you would like me to talk about, or if there's anything you would like me to introduce into these programs, then please just drop me an email. Alright, have a great week, guys. I will see you again next week.